Welcome to Stars Aligned, Dramas and Dreams podcast, where the infinite sky meets the starry world of dramas. We're your guides through the cosmos, from heart-stopping queer love stories to straight dramas of unexpected love.
In every unforgettable moment in between that make us swoon, laugh, and cry. And, of course, we'll sprinkle in a little stardust along the way.
I'm Nixie.
I'm Cyrus.
Each week, we'll explore the stellar journey of love, identity, and connection, one drama and one dream at a time.
So, gather your stardust, find your spot under the stars, and let's dive in.
This week, we're casting our gaze upon platonic relationships, letting the stars guide us through the exciting and vast world it holds.
To start our exploration, we didn't understand one thing. What are platonic relationships, and why do they matter?
Quite literally, pretty much the relationships that is anything but romantic relationships or sibling relationships in this case. That's still platonic.
Yeah, but it's a particular type of dynamic that we're not going to be focusing on as much in this episode. We really want to highlight here platonic soulmates via your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vibe.
That is definitely the vibe we will be sticking to. Or trying to.
Trying to, at least.
That is the key word.
We get off on a weird tangent sometimes.
We really do.
But I will say, in terms of the, why does it matter kind of element of all of this is I am definitely arrow spec. Where I fall on that spectrum, I haven't quite figured it out. And maybe never will. But, seeing, even in shows that, fall heavily in the romance genre, highlighting, the love, platonic love between, friends, and, especially, when they are given the same weight as, romantic love is something that is very, special to me and, I hold very dearly just by my nature.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I feel like it adds so much when it shows love beyond romance or beyond family and siblings and stuff like that.
Since we now understand the basics, let's break down the constellation of platonic relationships, mapping out the stars that connect to reveal the deeper layer of meaning we're exploring.
To navigate this constellation, we'll be focusing on our favorite examples, their importance, and audience reception impact platonic relationships.
We start our exploration with our favorite examples, where we'll examine the heart of platonic relationships and explore how they are essential to understanding them. Do we want to start with the obvious one?
That 'tis the question.
There's a big one that we literally never shut up about.
I think we should do it. Go for it.
Start with your strongest example, and then we're obviously talking about Fangs of Fortune. If you know us, you know the pod.
Fangs of Fortune did such a good job creating relationships between characters in a non-romantic way. Minus Winchow and Grey Demon, because theirs was supposed to be romantic.
Supposedly.
Not entirely sure about that one. But platonically, the bonds that were formed in this drama were so strong that, of course, it sparked the possible romances, which were completely headcanons, which I am delulu enough to be like, yeah, they exist. But in reality, platonic-wise, they were so well done. Just the relationships between, for example, Baby Ju, which is Baiju, but we call him Baby Ju, and Yi-Qian.
Mm-hmm.
And how they bonded their way, which we talk about in our series Satellite, but in their unique bond. Or Ying Li and Baby Ju, or how Winchow really relates to, or tries, not necessarily relates, but communicates and has creates this understanding with Pei Sijing.
Absolutely. Grey Demon and Yi-Chan. Even putting that aside, putting our delusions aside.
Yeah.
The relationship that they kind of develop is also very strong, to the point where it is hard to not see them in even a slight romantic light. But if you can, it's still a strong relationship. It's so good. I will never shut up about the show.
The dynamics are just well done. And we could go into those dynamics, but I think we talked about some of them. We can't do really Baby Jews with Yi-Chan because we really go into that one in the story. Not entirely with Yi-chan and Great Demon either, or Baby Chu and Yinglei.
I will say I was extremely delusional about our Sapphic
Oh,
queens.
absolutely.
So good.
I was too. But platonically.
But platonically, for the duration of this
Of
episode.
this episode. And then I'll go back to being delusional after we record it. Ooh, a really good platonic, like in recent terms of series that we've seen, a really good platonic relationship that existed was between Sir and Wim.
Yes.
This one's in one of our previous weeks. I think it was literally the week before this one. In our most recent, one of our recent ones. Not our most recent one, but one of our past BL weeks. We did The Boy Next World. And Sir and Wim's friendship.
Very good.
Because the way this poor man grew up with Sir, and he like he would always like help Sir out, like maybe he missed class or something, or maybe something else was happening, but would turn around and always get blamed for it. Or like it would be like, Wim, why did you let Sir do this? And he's like, I didn't, you know, why am I in trouble for trying to help his ass, you know?
Sir's his own person.
Yes, he's his own person, man. And it was so funny to me, but he stayed close to him no matter what, too, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that friendship. In the same sense that Jin was always there for Pooh Gun.
Honestly, most of Pooh's like friend group,
like the girls,
had like really strong, like a really strong like platonic love, like strong platonic like protective love of Pooh. That was really precious.
I was so here for that. This was the way the girls would stand up for him and stuff. Like, you can't treat this baby like this. And I think that was well done. Oh, another good one. And I know a lot of the ones we're bringing up are ones that we do general episodes, or not general, that we do series satellite episodes on.
Mm-hmm.
But they're good ones to point out. Like another one that, unless it turns romantically and I don't know about it turning romantically, the relationship between Chulan and Bao Bao in I Am Nobody.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's a really good example of a platonic relationship that is real strong. Like, real strong. I don't think that one is meant to be romantic unless it goes beyond what has been released series-wise. I know it is... I can't remember if it's a webcomic or... I don't think it's a novel, so I think it's a webcomic. I don't think it's anime.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's a webcomic. I don't know of any of it being romantic. But I do know, and what we've seen so far and what we see in the series is platonically. I love the relationship between Chinlin and Bao Bao and how Bao Bao will like listen to Chinlin even though ironically she's supposed to be the one over Chinlin, quotation marks, and Chinlin will go to
But she trusts him implicitly.
Yes, and Chinlin would go to like great lengths to protect her.
Literally to the end of the world.
Yes, to protect her. And so that's a really good one. Which sounds like a romantic story plot, but it's not.
But it's not.
And I love that representation because, you know what? Platonic, you can love someone platonically to the ends of the earth. Like, you don't have to like, oh, I want a romantic life with you. No, not at all.
What was the girl's name in the Spiralum?
Ten Zao Zhao's. And who was it?
Both Nanza and Ling Ling. Like, it starts out with like mostly just Nanza, but like Ling Ling also like they also like form a like a deep bond. I don't know. I really like their dynamic,
which is hilarious considering Nanza was always on top of Ten Zao Zhao in terms of like snapping at her and like saying the most sassiest things to her. Like one of my favorite lines.
Absolutely.
Oh damn! What was it? I think I made a clip over it too. It was in the second door. They
made her sleep on the floor.
Island. Yes, and he made her sleep on the floor because like. But before they said that, what was it that was said? Because he essentially insinuated that she was heavy. And it took her a second to get... Because, like, she had a different name in the door. and she was trying, and he used her name against her to make it sound like she was heavy, like use a different particle, and she was like, "That's not how you say it. It's this." And and like the kid kind of rolls his eyes because I think it goes over her head. I don't think she fully realized that he was picking at her. I can't remember. She might have, but the way this man would throw her under the bus sometimes, but like in the most hilarious way. Never enough to kill her.
It really feels like Zazo had like by like as like the drama goes on, developed like a little sister relationship towards like both Lingli and Anza. It's just opposite ends of the spectrum. Like you have like the sassy sibling relationship but with Nanza, and then like the caring, overly sweet like sibling relationship type with Ling Ling. And I don't know, it's my favorite. I love it.
I don't want to dive too deep into that, but I love the spiral. I mean, I feel like platonic relationships are portrayed a lot, but because you get a lot of friends and whatnot in shows, you pretty much don't go a show without someone befriending someone. But in terms of something that it's so deeply like rooted of a platonic relationship that it just, it kind of earns its spot in, for example, like the bromances kind of thing, where it's not romance at all, but like something about it allures this idea. But like it's that closeness these characters have, and I am obsessed when we have those type of relationships. Like, I don't get me wrong, love romance. Pretty much majority of my stuff has romance in it. Most of the time that's the biggest reason I'll even watch a series, is like a little bit of a rom-com is like my favorite genre. And rom-com can still be a thriller and stuff like that, because it could be like mystery, whatever kind of base one, whatnot. But sometimes I love a little bit of some platonic kind of action going on between characters and just how they get along and how they treat each other. And that's good to me too.
Rain and Sky, Love in the Air.
That's a good one.
They like truly like, and like deeply care for each other in a really beautiful way, even though Rain irks Sky's last nerves pretty much constantly.
Oh, for sure. All the time.
All the time. Somoon and Hana in The Uncanny Counter.
Yes.
It's so good.
You pulled that one out of the blue. I love theirs.
Honestly, their entire like group has a very strong relationship.
Still mad I haven't finished season 2.
I know, we need to do it so bad, but like we got scared and just stopped.
I got too scared about what was gonna happen. It started getting very intense and I was like, nope, I can't do this right now. And then I stopped and I need to pick it back up.
Same.
I will, because The Uncanny Encounter was one of my favorite non-romance K-dramas that I had seen before. And when I heard that it was going to have a season 2 after had been like 3 or plus years?
It had been a while, yeah.
Since the release of season 1. And I was obsessed with season 1.
I know. I feel bad that I didn't. It took me so long to watch it.
It did. And yeah, shame on you. But season 2 came out.
Fair. Excuse you.
Yeah, whatever. But when season 2 came out and things really started getting harder for the encounters, I was so worried about them.
Yeah.
Because previously they kind of overcame a lot of their stuff, because Someone was like, he kind of ended up coming on top. Like, you could tell he was kind of like meant for this job.
Like a protege, Jesus.
Oh, for sure. He could literally open up their border. Like, he could bring to them the one thing that they had to just hope would show up, like, and help them, like, gain powers, right? And then, next thing you know, in this new one, slight spoilers, because, so sorry, it turns out that, what were they called? The evil spirits? But what were they called? Anyways, it just ends up turning out that apparently the bad guys, I'm so sorry, I can't remember what they were exactly called on top of my head. They're like, they were like spirits that gone away, like had gone bad and essentially ended up in a person's body and kind of overtook it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Turns out that these top level ones, oh, I'm scared kind of thinking about it because they gained a lot of their powers when they found out if they killed counters, they were able to absorb, and they killed a few of them in the second season and gained a lot more strength, and they got to certain levels that no one had hardly ever seen in a long time get that high.
Yeah.
And so this led to no longer, like, he could call forth the barrier, but even that almost didn't become enough anymore. Because they also learned they could control theirs too. Which, terrifying. I'm still scared to find out.
Kind of like put it on hold for a bit, and then
it was almost a different kind of scary of like the apocalypse kind of storylines and stuff like that. Like, I don't know why I can handle deaths in like Chinese dramas and other things, but I was worried about this series. This series had me concerned. I was like, no, I don't want to know now.
I still don't know how it ends. Such a good job of like getting you to care about the characters that we get to like get to know deeply, and just like, oh,
I just love the uncanny encounter, the way it was done.
It's so good.
Way those type of relationships were built. And so they have a really good platonic style, especially when none of them were related to each other. So like all of them are platonic, even though some of them, like what's her name, took on the mother figure. You essentially got a mother figure, a father figure, a sister figure. Like they all like became like a family. It was like a perfect found family. All platonically, because there was no romantic like kind of thing, like not even between the mom dad figure at all. Like, no, absolutely not. But moving on, with that being said, we shift orbits and we find ourselves at the importance of these relationships. This new path takes us deeper into platonic relationships, uncovering hidden connections and unfolding new layers.
I made an oopsie. I kind of stated a little bit of their importance in the intro segment, but it's fine. We can go a little more in depth with it here.
I did too, so it's not you're not alone on that.
We made oopsies. It's fine.
We constantly do that, so like, are we surprised? No.
Like, a big part of it is like being able to like see and recognize that like romantic love isn't the only love that is out in the world. Like, platonic soulmates are like such a powerful thing, and like element, tool.
There's multiple ways you can word that.
Dynamic relationship,
especially in stories.
Like, they add so much meaning to a character. It's like getting real for a second, pulling back, kind of getting into the real world. In real life, if an individual only has like their romantic partner, and like doesn't have relationships with like friends, family, others like outside of that, that's a red flag for abuse. And so like, I'm just saying.
Kind of, yeah, definitely.
Like, having just like that isolation of like is like a huge thing in like the beginnings of like in an abusive situation. So like seeing like these characters having relationships outside of like their romantic their boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever, it makes them feel more secure and like more realistic in a sense.
Also, I mean, if romantic relationships are the only ones that exist, it would, that would be real rough. In the sense of, that would almost take that concept people think about, where a lot of times this is applied to the queer community more than anything. And I hate this for it, but I had a conversation recently with someone about this, and like, how there's that stupid mindset people have, especially, I don't know about other places in the world, but it's especially in the US, or at least where we're at, where it's like when someone finds out that they like the same sex, they're immediately like I hope you don't like me too because you're the same sex. And that is so frustrating, because for starters, you don't know what a type is. What makes you think that you automatically fall in that person's type? And two, that's where like the platonic thing comes into, like, or no relationship at all. Like, so if everything was romantically, then it's like that being taken to like extreme level, like the possibility of everyone just liking everyone, which, as a bisexual, most bisexual stuff, like maybe they'd enjoy that, but like I probably wouldn't. Types exist for a reason, and two, non-romantic things exist for a reason. And it's like, which back to that mindset, just a little tangent, that logic never makes sense to me, because it's like, and it's not just like because you didn't think of types, but it's like if you think that because they're the same sex, because they like the same sex, that they automatically like you, then where's that logic? Why is that not applied to being friends with someone of the opposite sex that also likes the opposite sex? Because like that logic should be applied to that too. But why don't you just assume that every guy, girl, whatever opposite sex is, that is also straight likes you too? Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And you know, in reality, that doesn't happen like that, because types exist, people's preferences exist, and so that to me has always like irked me, because I was like, that, why would you do that? I've literally had someone before when I told them how I didn't really care about like if someone like told me that they were a lesbian and stuff like that, and they're like, but what if they liked you? And if someone did, I'd be like, for starters, that's an honor, thank you. But two, that's their problem. Like, I don't mean it like that, but like, that's not something I'm going to cut a ties for unless they take it to an extreme in their actions. But like most of the time they don't. And so that's like, that's a stupid mindset.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it's dumb.
Even if your friend did, like that would happen in a straight relationship too. So like, get over it. So it's like, unless it's just that bad, then I don't think there's a reason to. And second, you shouldn't assume it to begin with unless they state it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or if the signs were really there, but like the signs actually have to really be there. Don't be that delusional and stuck in your head, okay? Because you're trying to make excuses.
Delusions about media is fine. Delusions in real life, more of a rocky situation. The logic of that never made sense and will never make sense.
But like, back onto the thing, platonic relationships have to exist in order for like realistic, like it's so like there's a huge importance behind those friendships, like the portrayal of friendships, and honestly any type of relationship outside of romantic one that could be like enemies, like ones where we don't like each other, no relationship at all, you just in passing, like there's so many different ways that can be done that does not require it to be romantically involved. And it's important due to the fact that it's just life.
Also kind of a weird little side thing. I love like when it's clear like what like even like in like platonic relationships, like that you can still pinpoint like the love languages that a person is leaning towards, and just by how they interact with like their friends and the people around them, because like it's very fun. I think love languages are very fun to kind of pick and weave through, Is it weird that I, from just our friendship, know what yours is? It's like,
okay,
because the way you like,
go ahead,
to like specifically like outward, like how you like to give, like and like show your love, is through gift giving and acts of service.
I was literally thinking about that. It's funny that you called me out, because I was sitting here thinking about how I like, and usually the gift giving is most of the time, not always, is actual things made, like handmade things too. Like your first concert that I took you to was a Monsta X concert that I turned around and made watercolor drawing paintings of all the members. I
still have that thing.
And it was based on their beautiful concept.
It was huge. Yeah.
and then like put little lights into the canvas so that it would be like kind of sparkly like their concept was.
Then printed out like little photos of them with like the words "Will you go with me to see
Monsta X?" And like the collection was Monsta X. But like I am or like your graduation gift was you doing like a little going on a treasure hunt through different letters randomly throughout your grandparents' place, because that's where you live, and with photos leading up to like the blanket I made for you. Like, what's considered acts of service?
That would be your surprises.
Oh,
that's where that falls in.
Fair enough. I always view those kind of as just gifts, but I guess that is technically acts of service. Yeah. I am definitely not an affectionate, though.
No. Which is
that's
unfortunate.
You. Very unfortunate. You know that dynamic where it's like one that's a hugger and the other one that's not? That is our dynamic, because like I'm like let go of me.
And like
Like, don't touch
I'm
me.
just like,
And
just like barely like holding onto her arm at like arm's length, just to like have a little bit of physical connection, like physical touch.
because I don't know. It reminds me of this. Have you seen those TikToks of essentially to the conversation we're having right now, where it's like where one friend, like Pebbles and stuff like that, and the other one's like, I love you. It's like, did you miss me? Pebble. Like, doesn't say anything. Yeah, but can you say that you missed me? Pebble. I'm like, that's me. That's me. I'm like, I can't. We got majorly off topic, and I'm so sorry. Because we got talking about ours. So you're very
Mine is physical touch, depending on the person.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like I either am like willing and like extremely like affectionate, like physically with you, or I do not want you within 2 feet of me. Stand over there, please. And like there's like no middle ground. It's wild. But then it's physical affection, depending on the person, and then quality time are like my two big ones.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I'm not surprised you could pick out my love languages. We have been friends for like a long time. It is funny that you decided to pull up stories about my love languages. But you know, speaking of the love languages, yeah, the platonic relationships is just like you said. It means so much when you're able to like receive those or see those in something that isn't romantic at all, because that's real life. That's gonna happen. Like, you would hope you find someone, you get close to someone that you get to see and understand their love languages without needing to be in a relationship with that person. Because that would be wild to a certain extent.
Finally, our third focus is audience reception. This is where we highlight its significance in understanding the deeper layers of platonic relationships. We'll say, like audience members will either love or hate, honestly, any relationship in a show, romantic or not. But I feel like it's extremely prevalent, like the like divisiveness of a relation, like a platonic relationship, is amped up more and more depending on the weight and like the emotional weight of of that relationship, like the platonic relationship. If it's more prevalent, a lot of times people have more to say about it. Unfortunately, they get put under a microscope that can be misconstrued so easily, which is unfortunate.
A lot of the relationships, like, especially if we're coming from bromance and stuff like that. And like, I get being delulu. I'm very delusional myself. I love a good bromance or a good like cis-mans. I don't watch a lot of those because we don't really see a lot of those actually. Come together and like be like, oh my god, if they were a ship. But in reality, I'm also like, that's just a good portrayal of a romantic. I mean, sorry, of a platonic relationship.
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate you'll see a lot of people do the shipping thing and take it a little extreme.
Just a little, which is fine. I mean, you do you.
And I'll do it too. So like, I get it, but like I love some good edits that make the romances seem quite romantic. Like, one of my favorite edits, I wish I remember who made it, but someone made a video on TikTok.
I knew you were gonna bring it up.
It's the high
Knew
school
you were gonna bring it up.
frenemy. I have to. It's a funny edit. Where it's high school frenemies, and it's Saint and
Shin, yeah.
Shin, right?
It is, yeah. Saint and Shin.
Or Saint and Shin are like, they're talking, having a conversation like on like a not a bench, a
Picnic tables?
Picnic table. Yeah, a picnic table. And like the audio over, it's just cuts of a scene from them talking on picnic table, essentially. But the audio goes along the lines, whereas of course I'll go to thing with you. You will, as friends, of course. It's like, yeah, of course, as friends. It says, what? No tongue. What? He says, fine with tongue. And then it's just the screaming. And next thing you know, it's just a cutscene of him like jumping on him. Like, I think he was choking him out, but like, it's still hilarious. It looked like he was choking him out, at least in the take. But like, that series had so many edits of the possibility of it being like a romantic, which I would not be surprised if at some point they transition from romance to a natural BL at some point, because we're we already received a Grub ad, a Grabs ad, or is it Grabs? Yeah, a Grabs ad where apparently Nani is Sky's ex. Apparently, we also had Jen Forth in it, and so everyone's like, we need these two together in a series. And we need, but first, honestly, before we need Gemini Fourth and Sky Nani in a series, we need Sky Nani in a BL series.
First and foremost.
Because you can't sell a ship that has not been selling yet outside in the actual BL, because they've explicitly have been bromance.
Well, they bromance so hard.
They bromance so hard that Sky won a Best Actor Award 2024. So it went real hard. And it was so popular that I think, if I remember correctly, even the director was like, yeah, the success of this show went beyond expectations and outside of the field we've been hitting off with popularity, which could lead down to more bromances, and I could foresee something getting slightly out of BLs and being more bromance based, because they are going to star in more bromances together, because Woo or whatever is what it's called, WU, they're fixing to be in another series that is stated to be, I don't know if it's gonna be 2025. It is in the 25 list, but I don't know if it'll be 25 or 26 when it comes out. But in another one with those two as leads again as a bromance. And so, I love their dynamic, both in shows and in real life. Yes, would I love to see them in a BL, in a romantic role too? But in reality, at the same time, I think just them working together, even in things like romances and stuff like that, or just in a show together, is kind of enough for me, to be honest. I know people will argue about that, but we get to see them together. That's what you want. At least it's not a show where you're imagining two different actors from two different shows together that never cross paths. At least this one they do, and they play it very well. And the audiences really did perceive those very well. Now, again, that was perceived as people do a lot hope there would be a romantic outcome. But in terms of the bromance level, platonically wise, that's a really good portrayal. And the audience clearly loved
absolutely. So many people talked about it. On the other hand, that's not a really great transition, but we'll do it anyway. Because My Girlfriend and Me is not an ensemble show, but I'm gonna talk about ensemble shows for a minute here, because most of them at least thrive truly at their heart on platonic relationships to make the ensemble make sense. As a lover of ensemble shows, I love the platonic relationships that most of them portray. So the audience reception of it all, people love or hate ensemble shows, because a lot of times they are focused more on they're character focused and not plot driven. So a lot of people find ensemble shows boring. I don't care. Give me character dynamics and working through interpersonal conflicts all day. I will eat that shit up.
For sure. We've broken everything down. Now it's time to put it all together. In this segment, we'll share our thoughts on platonic relationships as a full constellation and reflect on its total impact.
Just overall, I think we are both of the opinion that without platonic relationships within a show, the characters are going to feel flat.
For sure.
They've got to have more going on than just kissing their partner.
I don't know. I've seen some of these shows before, and that's why they probably fell flat, because it was what is going on? You can bring in more characters than that.
Exactly.
You gotta build relationships outside of romance. There's gotta have something else going on other than kissing your partner.
And even if it's not, if you got limited cast to work with, give them a hobby that's not kissing. Let them do pottery.
Come up with something. There's kind of so much that can be said about the platonic relationships in series. And if you have any suggestions about some platonic relationships that you find that you really like. Oh, list them.
We've definitely missed some.
Oh, for sure. Like, there's way too many series to be able to list them all off. And just like that, the constellation is fully drawn. We thank you for joining us for this episode of Stars Aligned Dramas and Dreams podcast, where we meet amongst the stars that illuminate the love stories that light up our universe and connect us all.
If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and share your stardust and thoughts with us. We'd love to hear your comments, favorite moments, or suggestions for what we should explore next.
You can connect with us in the comments or through our socials, as well as our email that are linked in the description. Let's keep the conversation going under the stars.
Until next time, keep dreaming, keep listening, and remember, love always shines brightest in the cosmos. Bye.